Hello everyone, just an update on where we're at with the cryptocurrency mining operation. So I thought that I would have a bit of a chat with you today to tell you where everything's at. So, things always take longer than what you think and are harder than what you anticipate. And let's just say Jeff Kolak is right about that. But yeah, so there was issues with the distributor, Gemini, with being able to, get their work done, which needed to be done. There needs to be upgrades in the street to enable me to get a three-phase power connection up and running. So that is going to happen on March 5th. They're going to send the truck down. They'll be here for a couple of hours doing that work. And my electrical contractor will be here as well to get all the three-phase connected up. Then the actual panels get put up on the 26th of March. So yeah, a bit of a delay there in getting it all done. So that's pretty much where we're at. I was thinking about putting more panels in the backyard, but it's not going to be suitable. So my mother doesn't like that idea. So it looks like we'll have to use the south-facing roof to put more panels on, which is not ideal, but it's just the way it's going to have to be. So, having panels on a south-facing roof in Melbourne, not ideal. You can only get about 67% of the power that I would have gotten if I had them north-facing. However, my mother's got a very big roof, and the roof can fit a lot of panels. So easily fit 10 kilowatts, 30 panels on the north side, and I'll have to buy another 10 kilowatt system for the south side. I will probably do that later on in the year, as a number of you have no doubt noticed, in particular Paul Rowe, Hamza Cadiz and Jeff Kolak. There has been a correction in the cryptocurrency market where the prices went down substantially. Bitcoin in particular went down by over 70%. Now, when that actually happened, I was in there buying up as much Bitcoin as I could get my hands on. So I made a nice return over the last couple of weeks. Buy when there's blood in the streets, right? So officially I've put out guidance that I think Bitcoin's going to go to about 25,000 this year. Unofficially, I think it'll go to more than that. But that's my official price estimate that I think it's going to get to. So the strategy with the mining is, if the prices of cryptocurrency are very high, then I'll sell off some crypto and I will pump that into infrastructure. Solar panels, batteries, other infrastructure around the house, as well as mining equipment. If the price of crypto is going down or is very, very low, I will be buying it up. So I'll be spending fiat money to buy up cryptocurrency. So regardless of what happens in the marketplace, the worst thing that could happen is that we end up with a whole lot of solar panels on the roof and a whole lot of Tesla power walls, and we've got all our power needs met for the rest of our lives, right? So in these sorts of booms, whether we're talking about the dot-com boom or we're talking about this cryptocurrency boom, in the wake of these booms, it leaves a whole lot of infrastructure that wouldn't have been left if the boom hadn't have occurred in the first place. So yeah, I think it's we're in interesting times. The crypto market is at about 500 billion US at the moment. Where do I think it's going to be before the end of the year? I think that it'll be at between 1 trillion to 2 trillion US. Now, that is, other people, experts in the cryptocurrency space, have also given those sorts of that sort of guidance on where they think the market will be. So it's, I think it's a conservative estimate to say 1 trillion, but who knows? It's all speculation, right? The Nasdaq at its peak got to about 7 trillion, and that was just US centric. Cryptocurrencies, we're talking about a worldwide marketplace. Everybody's going to be getting in on this because they've realized, or some people have realized, that this is the future of money, and it gives power back to the people, and it takes it away from banks and governments. Now, this is probably, at least in my lifetime, it's the most important innovation in computer science that I've seen. So not doing anything would have been a crime, right? It's one of those once-in-a-lifetime opportunities that the previous generations didn't have. So let's talk about previous generations. My father's generation, my father was born in 1929 during the Great Depression. And he grew up and he saw what the banks did at that time. And let's just say the history of my family, we come from the working classes, but the stories were passed on down the generations to myself about what went on back then. Now, due to cryptocurrencies and due to the fact that, yes, I've got a degree in computer and math science and I work in high-performance computing, I'm uniquely positioned that I can take advantage of this boom, that I can create a mining operation, and I can also buy up the cryptos and understand exactly what's going on. So it would be a crying shame if I was just to sit by and do nothing. If my father was alive today and I explained it to him, I said, well, Dad, look, we've got a situation now where power is available to go back to the people, where the people can mint their own currency. Whereas before, banks and governments, kings and rulers, dictators of the past, were the only people who had that power. My father was a smart man. He wasn't formally educated, but he would have recognized that this is an incredible opportunity, a time in history where this is possible. So if he was alive today, he would be behind me in everything that I'm doing. He would be helping me in any way that he could, because he had, let's say, reservations about banks and governments, because he knew how they behaved. He knew that paper currency, fiat currency, was the true problem when it came to freedom for the masses. Yes, so what else do I have to say today? I don't know. Hopefully all of you are looking into crypto as a result of my my Facebook posts. You would have seen posts from one Humza Cadiz, Jeff Kolak, and others. Shout out to everyone out there who are interested in my crypto posts. Who they don't believe that crypto is the future of money. So let's have a think about this. You've got some of the smartest people in the world who believe that cryptocurrencies are the future of money. We're backing Bitcoin. Just a couple of days ago, some trader bought over $400 million worth of Bitcoin when there was blood in the streets. So you've got people, the best and brightest around the world are going into crypto. And then you've got the average everyday person who says, well, I don't really understand what's going on. This is too difficult. It's too abstract. You know, I just don't get this. Well, in 10 years' time, the average person will definitely get it because it'll be a lot easier to use. 20 years it took for email to be the preserve of somebody like me working in the computer science department at a university. Right? We had to compile the mail program on a Unix command line in order to send email, and it would take a couple of days before it reached its destination. 20 years before it went from that to swipe, when my mother could use it very, very simply. We're going to get there in under 10 when it comes to crypto. You will know it when we're there because on smartphones, somebody will invent a killer app for crypto. There'll be a wallet. It won't just be for Bitcoin, it'll be for any crypto that you want. And maybe the terminology might be called crypto. Maybe we'll call it digital currency. It has to be really easy to use, where literally somebody could just use their phone, put in the amount, swipe, done. We are nowhere near that stage yet, right? Not with a basket of cryptos on your iPhone. Can't do that yet. Even with the exchanges, we've got centralized exchanges that are sitting there that are massive honeypots, hacking targets, and that all needs to be distributed out, decentralized as well. With cryptocurrency, anyone can be their own bank. So having a Bitcoin wallet on your phone, you've got the equivalent of, or you're the equivalent of your own bank. We need to get to the stage where everybody's the equivalent of their own exchange. So why should these centralized exchanges, I mean, these centralized exchanges are minting literally billions of dollars. Coinbase has made over $1 billion. These things are unicorns, but it's at a specific time in history where they're seriously needed. But the future is going to be decentralized exchanges. It'll be decentralized everything. It gives a lot of power back to the people. And here I am, my mother's shed, renovated it, setting up mining equipment so that I can be a part of it. This is how early we really are here. There's very few people in Australia who are doing this sort of stuff on solar as well. The visits to my website when I did high performance computing are like this, sort of flatline. Yeah, I got some inquiries from big corporations and managers in places like that who like my expertise when it comes to HPC. The hits to the website very flat. When I started doing crypto, the hits went bang, hockey stick. Isn't that interesting? So the masses out there want to make money. The masses out there find it difficult to understand. They need Nerd Boy to explain it to them simply. And that's fine. Right? The herd is coming. The herd is definitely coming. If you look at a graph called the Law of Diffusion of Innovation, at the far left you've got your innovators, which represent about 2.5% of the population. Next come your early adopters. After that comes your early majority, your late majority, and your laggards. Laggards, these are the types of people who only got new phone when they couldn't keep their rotary telephones anymore. Where are we with crypto? We are between innovator to early adopter. Depending on the cryptocurrency though, we're getting to the point where the early majority are starting to get in. Early majority. These aren't innovators. This is the general public. These are people who have been calling me up on my telephone, elderly people saying, hello, is this the Bitcoin office? I'm like, I have to explain to them, well, no, this isn't the Bitcoin office. I don't own Bitcoin. I'm merely an independent consultant. I was tempted to say, yes, this is the Bitcoin office. How can I help you? Bitcoin office, Clark Dowson, right? But I don't want to deceive people. I'm not that kind of person. So I explain that I'm an independent consultant, that I can help them get set up with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, help them set up wallets on their phones, and and buy up crypto via an exchange via coinspot.com.au. But the calls that I'm getting are from, the early majority. Yeah, the early majority. So we're sort of in between that stage when it comes to Bitcoin. The question is, are we too late with cryptos? Not by a long shot. Initially, when I started looking at it about 9 months ago, I looked at it, I thought, are we too late? I'd heard of Bitcoin years ago. I didn't touch it, and I didn't look into it seriously because of where I work. I'm a government employee, and Bitcoin, let's just say it had a bit of a reputation as being unsuitable for a government person to even be looking at touching. Right? Had a history of being used on the dark web, and that's a problem. Was a problem. So I didn't look into it seriously. I consider that the biggest mistake in my life, right? Because I would have read the white paper and would have recognised right away what it meant for the world, and I would have bought up as much as I could. And that would have been back in 2010, right? Well, hindsight is 2020. But going forward, Bitcoin's still got a lot of possibilities in terms of growth. Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss, the Winklevi twins, you know them from the movie The Social Network, the guys who invented or claimed to have invented Facebook, and Zuckerberg stole their idea. They've come out and they've said that they think that Bitcoin is going to be is going to increase 40 times. They consider it as digital gold, a store of value. I would say that they're right. But at the moment, the Lightning Network is being implemented on the Bitcoin network. That network has got great promise to speed up transaction times and to reduce the cost of transactions. So whether it ends up being a store of value or both, a store of value as well as a transactional currency, I think it will do well regardless. So it would not surprise me if Bitcoin by the end of the year reaches $100,000 US per coin. Some people might say, that's nuts, Towson, you crazy. Don't underestimate Bitcoin, and don't underestimate how the public will pile into it. There's never been anything like this in the history of humanity. You look back on past financial bubbles. I consider myself a student of financial bubbles. I'm very interested in Ponzi schemes, get-rich-quick scams, all the rest of that, because I've got crazy friends like Hamza Cadiz who has been obsessed with getting rich quick, and I've told him that it cannot be done for someone like himself unless he's willing to take extraordinary risks, right? So I've looked into all these things in the past. 99.9% of them are scams. Now I looked at Bitcoin. I thought, oh, this really is something that's different. Although having said that, the most dangerous words in investing are this time it's different. But if you look at the mathematics of Bitcoin, and that's what I encourage you all to do, read the white paper, have a good read of it, try to understand what's going on, look at the difficulty of mining, look what happens when more miners join the network and the difficulty goes up, what's going to happen to the value of the coins that are remaining. It's a deflationary currency. There will only ever be 21 million of them. Remember this as well. Bitcoin, it's programmable money. It's literally the internet of money. If you think about that, programmable money, it's not just humans that can use it. Machines can use it. On the internet, there are millions of connected devices, probably even more than that. Well, billions, actually, I believe. Now, those devices in the future, they will be able to transact using cryptocurrency. So, let's say Clark Towson, for instance. I live right next to the Westgate Bridge. So I put up a webcam. Webcam is focused on the traffic that's going past. That's the busiest freeway in Australia. If I've got a camera that's up there, it's recording the traffic, it's zooming in, it's doing all this great stuff, maybe motorists in the future, as they're going to work, they might swipe on their phone and say, oh yeah, I'd like to see the traffic, right? And I'll get a fraction of a penny in cryptocurrency for allowing the motorist to see the camera. That's just one use case. We've got so many potential use cases where machines could be using crypto. Cryptocurrency, we've divorced money from personhood. And this is what has got governments worried. Right? They don't like the fact that money has been separated from the state, it's been separated from their control and their issuance, and currencies like Monero, for example, which are privacy coins, cannot be traced. All right? What is government? Government is about control. And cryptocurrencies reduce the government's ultimate control, which is control over the issuance of currency. But they lost it. People have won this war. Computer and math scientists, that's what I am. Nerd boy, read the white paper, has looked at the mathematics. People have won, governments have lost. You may disagree with me. No, governments are very powerful. Don't be under any illusion. For after all, I work for the government. I know full well how powerful they are. The long term, people have won due to cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. Bitcoin in particular, I think will win. Some might say, well, look what happened to MySpace when Facebook came along. Got a good point there. But if you think of the network effects that Bitcoin has going for it, and the lead that it has, and the fact that the best and brightest programmers, or some of the best and brightest programmers in the world, are working on Bitcoin. Not working on the altcoins, not working on Bitcoin Cash, they are working on Bitcoin Core, Bitcoin. It's a pretty good head start. All right. Look at the mining network. The amount of people all around the globe who are verifying transactions. It's probably going to be Bitcoin. So Bitcoin makes up a large bulk of my portfolio. Up to you what you buy. I guess with these sorts of educational sessions I can talk to you about this sort of stuff. I've got a couple of people interested. A comment from Jeff Kolak. Hello. It's a nice day outside. How about taking a walk and clear your head from all this rubbish? Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. Yeah, it is rubbish, isn't it? It's not important. The separation of money and state is not important. Just like the separation of church and state. Not important, right? Nah. I'll go take a walk instead. I'm going to look back on this time in my life and I'll say to myself, well, let's say I have kids and in the future they say, hey Dad, what were you doing back in 2018, as all these cryptocurrencies were coming out? Oh, I was taking a walk down the beach, I didn't really know what was going on. The media said it was a scam, didn't look into it. Am I going to say that, or am I going to say, I'll tell you what I was doing, son. I had set up a cryptocurrency mining operation. I'd invested heavily in cryptocurrencies. I was teaching people about them on the internet. I spoke to as many people as I could. I was researching it in depth. I was writing reports. I was creating websites. I had independent consultation sessions with people. They could come to the house and I would say, here is my research. That's what I was doing. And that's why I've got some money. That's why I've got some assets and maybe a bit more than other people, because I invested heavily at the right time. Or maybe that's why we haven't done so well, because the whole thing came crashing down. I will not be saying I was out going for a walk down the beach, fucking around doing nothing. No. Enough victimhood bullshit. Families, if you look at them, they pass on stories. So, we had a hard life. Things were tough back then. Well, yeah, things might have been tough for some people, but the reality is they were tough for the working class. Were things tough for the capitalist class? This is the sort of work that gets a person into the capitalist class in the first place. What doesn't get a person into the capitalist class is sitting around doing sweet fuck all, complaining about everything and doing nothing. So whether I succeed or whether I fail, at least I can say I gave it a go. So my strategy is to buy up a basket of cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, altcoins, as well as do the mining. I may also get involved in ICOs. There is a person by the name of Ian Bellina. If you haven't heard of him, check him out. He turned $20,000 into $4 million in the space of a year by investing in ICOs. Risky, a lot riskier than what I'm doing. And that's saying something, right? A lot riskier than what I'm doing. Right? Risky business. he's a data scientist. He's got the technical ability to read through all the white papers that are out there, to make sense of them, to put all that information out there to help other people, and to create like a ranking system, the best ICOs. And he put his money on the line. He backed himself. And why wouldn't he back himself? He worked with some of the best and brightest people in the world. Smart guy. I may do ICOs. I'm not going to do them at the moment though. But I am looking at them. There is a lot of junk out there. Let's be sure about that. There's a lot of scams. There's a lot of get-rich-quick merchants, scams, junk, just crap. And you've got to be able to separate that from the good stuff. That's hard to do for the average person. Hard to do. It's hard to do if you're doing it full-time, and even if you're an expert in the space. However, having said that, doing that kind of work was the preserve of venture capitalists. So during the last dot-com boom, venture capitalists would sit around, well, you know, who are these people? They sit around an office, and entrepreneurs come into their office, and they give them the pitch, and the venture capitalist thinks that this is a good idea, here's X amount of dollars. Or they say, no, that ability now is available to anyone in the world, except I guess if you're in the United States. They've got all kinds of rules against the average person participating in ICOs. But being a venture capitalist is possible now. If you've got some money, you can invest in these ICOs. Nothing's stopping it. Likewise, if you're an entrepreneur, you can create an ICO. Whatever your idea is, you can put it out there. If, and this is a big if your idea is right for a blockchain, and most of them are not, by the way, see a lot of crap out there that is just bullshit. If you can replace the word blockchain with database and the white paper reads the same, then you know it's bullshit. 60 Minutes has got a special one tonight about cryptocurrencies. Let's see how many of you watch it and think it's bullshit. Aussie coin. Right? Can you replace the word blockchain with database and get the same result? Do these guys really need to be issuing a token? They're implementing Bitcoin ATMs around Australia. They could have chosen a different way to finance things. Stay away from it. That's not to say it may not go up a lot. It may. But I would stay away from it. It's not something that I would buy. If anyone's got any questions, you're welcome to ask me so. I'm watching the stream here now. Up to you. As I think of things, I will discuss them. Optus. Had a problem with Optus, with broadband. It was out for about 12 hours. So I put a wireless card in this PC and the other PC. So I've had the problem again. I'll still be able to continue mining. I will go via the wireless network instead. It'll still be more expensive, but those sort of outages are a bit long. Once I've got the operation fully set up and there's a whole lot of mining equipment around here, delays will be costing money. Can't have that. You know? The electrical contractor that I'm dealing with, he said one other customer is interested in doing cryptocurrencies. He's doing some electrical work for that person now. I think that's going to build. I think there'll be more people doing it. It would have been unbelievable to think that people like myself would be setting up racks of computing gear to verify transactions on a financial network, right? It would have been sort of unthinkable 15 years ago that this would be the new version of money, the new financial system. Yet here we are. Right? Yeah. Power has shifted. Instead of having a room full of accountants, rubber stamping documents, authorising transactions, computers, mining equipment, verifying transactions, decentralisation. Are we the people going to choose a decentralised financial system, or are we going to continue on with the centralised one? It's going to be digital money either way. Are we going to continue to give power to the banks and the government, or are we going to take back that power and have it completely decentralised? Which one is going to win? If you think about the financial crisis of 2008, the government bailed out the banks. The people didn't have a choice. The people got screwed over, the bankers made bonuses, the bankers made a fortune at the expense of the people. Privatise the profits, socialise the losses. Your government says that's the way to go. Bail them out. Bailouts are not going to happen again, I wouldn't think. They will be very politically unpopular. We could have thrown the bankers in jail. That didn't happen. With cryptocurrencies, they are limited. Right? Well, potentially limited, depending on what crypto that you create. But if you're a government, you've got a printing press, or you're a bank and you can create money out of thin air, that's not limited. Paper currency is not limited. Right? Print up as much as they want. Cryptocurrencies, supply is limited, has to be mined. Difficulty goes up, existing supply becomes more valuable. You own the private keys. You keep control of the private keys. You keep control of your own money. Is that the future that we the people want? Or do we want a situation to continue where banks have got that ultimate control? Because if I've got a credit card and I swipe that credit card at a shop and the transaction goes through fine, great, I buy my product or service. But if it doesn't go through, if it's declined, right? Ultimately, what's happening is we're giving a third party control over our money. And that third party has got the power to say, no, you can't do that. You can't spend that money. So whose money is it really? Is it yours? Is it really yours? That's the current system we live under. That is the reason why, if you look throughout history of Towson family from the working classes who had no power, who always had to work for buses, didn't have a whole lot of resources. Generation after generation not being able to get into the capitalist class. Until cryptocurrencies came along. Clark Towson got a computer and math science degree, saw the opportunity, went for it. Future generations will say, thank you. Thank you, Clark. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. Thank you, because I didn't have the same opportunity. It was a once-in-a-lifetime thing. You saw it, you acted, and you helped other people to see it as well. You helped other people act. You empowered other people as well. Some of them were against you. Closest friends were against you. Hamza Cadiz, Jeff Kolak, for instance. Other well-wishers who I've sort of become friends with, who are sort of against me. It's a bit of rivalry, right? But if I do well, my closest friends, it would elicit envy. Envy is a powerful emotion. If I do really badly and this whole thing crashes and burns and it's all over, it'll make Hamza Cadiz and Jeff Kolak extremely happy, right? Yeah. It's funny how that sort of stuff works. Well, all that's in the book, The 48 Laws of Power, all that sort of shit, which I highly recommend, by the way. If anybody, if you out there have not read it, read it. 48 Laws of Power is fantastic. Friends of mine in Thailand, I gave it as a gift to a friend of mine in Thailand. He knows who he is. It's operating in a certain environment, and that's a very good book for that environment. #1 book taken out in prison libraries. That's pretty much all I had to say today. I don't really have much else to cover. See, a number of you are still watching. No questions? Up to you. The black screen that you see going over there, that's actually this PC. It's got one GPU, it's mining. It's mined about 600 Verge coins in about 6 weeks with one GPU. If I had 10 GPUs, it would have done 6,000 coins. 100, 60,000 coins. Those coins at the moment are about 10 cents each. I've got about 40,000 Verge coins in total. At one point they were 30 cents each. So this business, there's a lot of upside potential, right? Because I could mine a basket of cryptocurrencies, have that mining operation going for a year, and those cryptos could go up, down, up, down. If just one of them shoots through the roof like Verge did, where I turned a $200 investment into $20,000 at one point. Imagine if I had had 1 million Verge coins that I'd mined, right? And then bang, price went like this. This is the possibilities that are possible when you're mining cryptocurrency, potentially. So it's sort of like playing the startup game, where in a normal lottery, your odds of winning are millions to 1, right? You're not going to win the lottery. Highly unlikely. Someone does, but it's highly unlikely that it's going to be you. So with a business like this, essentially what I'm doing is sort of controlling where the balls are falling. There's a much higher probability of success doing what I'm doing, and a much higher probability of getting one of those coins, or getting a lot of those coins that shoot through the roof. Just have to choose wisely. Now, can I do that as a computer and math scientist? Can I recognize a coin with great potential? If I was reading through a white paper and I saw, okay, limited in supply, privacy coin, great team behind it, people with experience, people with backgrounds in computer and math science, software engineering, development, good business people working there, various other attributes of the coin. Has it been pre-mined or not? Are the people trustworthy? I think that I could probably recognize it. It cost me a lot of time and effort to do that. Other people are out there around the world who are studying this stuff as well to put out their recommendations. Well, I think I could probably recognize them. Alternatively, what I could do, I could create my own crypto coin. I could do that today. And it could be available today as well. And I was thinking about doing it. I was going to call it the INTJ coin and just do it for educational purposes, to teach people, right? Teach my clients. But I've sort of shied away from it, because if I put a coin out there and people do start buying it, and my white paper says in big letters, no, this is for educational purposes only. This coin is only used by INTJ clients. It's a privacy coin, but it's just for testing only. If it booms in value, Clark retains the rights to be able to sell some, to buy his Lambo or whatever. That's probably not going to be a good look. I'll lose credibility. So I sort of shied away from doing it. I could come out and I could create a privacy coin, write a white paper, put up a nice professional website, do all that stuff. But the reality is, there's a whole sea of altcoins out there, and mine would just be another altcoin, right? So what's the difference between my altcoin and somebody else's altcoin? Not much. I won't have the mining network behind me. Have a very high likelihood of failure doing it. It's not going to beat Bitcoin. So I'm not going to do it. Yes. Cryptocurrency gurus. Some of you may have noticed that I put up a page on my website ranking the crypto gurus. the top experts from around the world. And I've got a number of items that I'm ranking them against. Trustworthiness being number one. Honesty. Various other attributes that I'm ranking them against. Humility. Communication skills. Leadership ability. There's a 5-star rating that I'm ranking these guys out of. And I'm providing comments about them. Because the reality is there's a lot of misinformation out there in the crypto world, right? There's a lot of people out there who are leading people astray. And that's not good. I don't want to see the general public get hurt. I'm going to do everything that I can to be open, honest, transparent, accountable, responsible, being all the things that I can be to help people, not to fuck them over. There's too many Ponzi scheme, get-rich-quick artists and assholes, right, who are involved in this gold rush. History will judge me as somebody who tried to help people, not who tried to scam them. And judge a person by their actions. So judge me by my actions. Go to the Guru's page, have a look at the rankings. The people who I've put on the Guru page. Number one is Andreas Antonopoulos. If you don't know who that is, go to YouTube, check out his YouTube channel, watch all his videos. He is the number one most trustworthy person in the Bitcoin space. Trace Mayer, check him out as well. John McAfee, be a bit careful with that guy, but check out his material. Ronnie Moas, check him out definitely. Like what he's doing. His charity work is commendable. He's got the right idea. His research is valuable. He's obviously studied Bitcoin very carefully, looked at the economics, looked at how it works, and understands that the potential value of it could be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars or more per coin. In 3 years' time, there's going to be over 300 million people around the world clamoring to get their hands on Bitcoin. The Bitcoin that is available, out of the 17 or so million that are out there at the moment, a large proportion of those Bitcoins are held in cold storage. They're being hodled, or people who are holding them long term won't sell them at any price. Many of them have been lost. So there's a lot less than the 16 million that are actively available to trade at any one time. Right? When 300 million people are trying to get their hands on Bitcoin, and there's no supply response from the market, has there been another asset in history that has had such an extreme supply-demand ratio, where the demand is massive and the supply is just non-existent? I can think of none throughout history. And I've looked, right? So I think that Bitcoin's going to surprise us all. It could hit values which just look ridiculous. It may even hit 100,000 by the end of the year. It would be overpriced at that value, but that could actually happen. If you look at the numbers and you look at previous Bitcoin booms and corrections, that number is not outrageous based on the 200-day moving average. Probably the best strategy for most people, and remember, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm a computing expert. The best strategy that I would sort of recommend to people would be to buy up Bitcoin, hold it yourself, take control of your private keys, and buy up a basket of altcoins, knowing that the majority of those altcoins will probably fail. But overall, your portfolio should do well. So that's my strategy. I don't want to be trading things back and forth all the time or any of that, so I don't have time to be doing that. Mm-hmm. All right. I can't think of anything else to really add. I don't think. Yeah, so anyway, with the mine, by April, the power wall will go in. So by April, panels will be up, power wall will be in, and I can actually build a first proper mining rig, which is what I'll do in probably April or May. The really cool thing about having a mine that's running on renewables is, think about it, generating electricity, and you're generating it for free from the power of the sun. That electricity powers the mining rigs. The mining rigs generate cryptocurrency. You can convert the cryptocurrency to Bitcoin and then convert the Bitcoin to cash. But there's no other expenses, right? So you're generating money, you're minting money, whilst you're keeping your expenses very, very low. It doesn't need a whole lot of staff, and there's me. Right? This communication system here with this PC, I could be sitting in a condo in Bangkok or Pattaya, Thailand, and my brother can walk in here, put the headset on, and I could direct him to do whatever work in here is required. Send boxes of stuff here, he can put it together. I can pay him some money, and that adds to my hashing power, to my mining power. So it's a good opportunity to run a business from home, right, where I don't have to have too many employees, where it generates potentially very good money, and those coins, if I sit on them for say a year and the market goes through the roof, which I think that it will this year, I think it'll hit 2 trillion. That's potentially a lot of money that can be generated from home. Right? Now, I have gone for runs around the Spotswood, Yarraville, Newport, Williamstown area. Very few other houses have got a roof like my mother's place. That is, so here's north, here's south. The north-facing roof is actually bigger, right? There's a huge amount of roof space. And the south-facing roof is still quite big as well. Plenty of room up on the roof to put up 20 kilowatts worth of solar panels. Speaking of solar panels, I was considering buying them directly from China. I can get Jinko solar panels from China via Alibaba for around about $5,000 for 10 kilowatts. Actually, no, it's more than that. I can get more power than that at less money, but it works out to be about half the price, right? Half the price if I go it alone. But then, of course, I've got to set them all up, and there's a lot of stuff around. I don't want to be setting up panels myself on my mother's roof, right? It's too high. I'm getting older now. I don't want to fall down and hurt myself, right? So I think I'll just go through the local, through Green Sky Solar, who will put up, who I'm working with to do the first lot of solar panels that will be put up there. But recognise that that's an option. You could choose to do that. If I was putting them on the ground, I probably would do that. Buy them from China, set them all up myself, do as much wiring as I could, then I'd get the electrician in and say, right, finish it up. Yeah. Alright, well that's it. Shout out to all my friends out there. Hope everything's going well. And to my friends in Thailand who are watching now, Sawadee Cup. That's it. See you next time.